You've carried it for as long as you can remember. The weight of being two people at once. One that the world sees, smiling, laughing, interacting without apparent struggle. Another that only exists in silence, in private moments, in the dark hours when the mind unravels. It is a strange duality, a dance between survival and truth, where each movement is both protection and revelation. To smile when your chest feels heavy is an act of courage. To cry unseen is an act of honesty. And you have done both for as long as you can remember, without acknowledgement, without recognition, and yet with quiet mastery. From the earliest days, you learned that the world is not always kind to those who show the depth of their feelings. You learned to watch the faces around you, to interpret every twitch, pause, or word for its potential to wound or withdraw approval. It was subtle at first, a frown avoided here, a smile given there. But over time, your nervous system internalized the rules. You understood that survival sometimes requires presenting a version of yourself that the world can tolerate. And so you began translating inner storms into outward calm. A smile became your language, laughter your shield, a nod your armor. And yet, inside, the river of feeling flowed unabated. Grief, frustration, longing, they didn't pause for social convenience. They waited in compartments you had built carefully, rooms within your mind where tears were allowed to surface only when no one could see. This compartmentalization, this dual existence, is not an accident. It is an intricate adaptation. It is intelligence forged from necessity. It is the silent architecture of survival, where each smile and each hidden tear serves a function, a purpose, a reason. As you grew, the pattern persisted. The more the world demanded performance, the more your duality sharpened. You became skilled at the art of timing your vulnerability, choosing when to reveal and when to conceal, when to engage and when to withdraw. And over the years, you honed an acute sensitivity to the emotions of others. You could sense subtle shifts in tone, the hesitation in someone's eyes, the tremor in their voice. This skill, born from necessity, became empathy. You learned to navigate relationships, work, and public spaces with a sophistication few recognized, even as it came at the cost of constant mental vigilance. The private storm never disappeared. It resided in moments of solitude, late nights when the world was quiet, early mornings before obligations arrived, or in brief intervals when your body could no longer hold back what the mind had been restraining. Tears fell in silence, unrecorded and unacknowledged, but they were vital. They allowed processing, relief, and sometimes revelation. These moments were sacred. They were the only place where the truth of your emotional life could exist without distortion or judgment. Smiling to survive and crying in silence is a sophisticated strategy, but it is also exhausting. Each outward gesture requires monitoring, adjustment, calculation. Every conversation, every encounter, every interaction becomes a balancing act. You carry not just your own emotions, but the weight of how others will perceive them. Yet, paradoxically, this duality also allows depth, insight, and resilience. You become a person who can navigate storms that others cannot perceive, who can maintain composure under pressure, who can connect deeply because you understand both the masks people wear and the truths they hide. There is also a rhythm to this life of duality. Smiles in public and tears in private are not random. They follow an unconscious cadence. The mind schedules vulnerability when safety is guaranteed. The body releases tension when it can. Over time, these rhythms become internalized, a secret choreography that allows survival without collapse. And though it is exhausting, it also teaches self-awareness. You begin to notice the subtle signals that indicate when the mask is sufficient, when the storm is manageable, when it is safe to let the tears flow. Attachment experiences from early childhood shaped this pattern profoundly. Caregivers' inconsistency, criticism, or emotional unavailability taught implicit rules about safety and expression. You learned that certain emotions are safer to display than others. Smiling to earn approval became a learned reflex. Crying became private, a hidden act of self-preservation. These lessons did not disappear with age. They persisted, influencing how you navigate friendships, romantic relationships, and professional interactions. They became the unspoken grammar of emotional survival. The duality also sharpens perception. Because you have spent a lifetime monitoring the responses of others, you become sensitive to nuance. You detect the unspoken, hesitation, fear, longing, or discomfort in those around you. Your own internal practice of masking allows you to empathize with others who do the same. Yet, this sensitivity can be draining. The constant awareness of hidden emotional layers, both in yourself and others, requires energy, attention, and patience. Still, there is a remarkable intelligence in this duality. By holding private grief while presenting public calm, you navigate the demands of life with agility. You maintain connection without surrendering your inner world. You endure emotional storms without being overwhelmed. And when you allow yourself the sacred moments of solitude, the private tears, the reflective pauses, you honor the entirety of your experience. In these moments, you are whole, integrated, and authentically human. Awareness transforms the duality into subtle empowerment. To recognize the mask and the storm is to recognize mastery. You can observe the performance, acknowledge the private grief, and gradually allow the two to converse. Each conscious acknowledgement, the pause before a smile, the private tear, the moment of reflection, is a thread weaving a tapestry of integration. This is not instant transformation. It is slow, cumulative, and profound. Patience is a companion in this journey. Integration does not occur in a single moment. It unfolds gradually, often imperceptibly. Every act of reflection, every moment of self-compassion, every choice to honor vulnerability in private or authenticity in public is a step toward wholeness. You learn to hold contradictions without judgment, to exist fully in both light and shadow, to navigate the delicate balance between performance and truth, survival and intimacy. Your inner world is a river beneath the calm surface of social interaction. The public self is smooth, visible, and approachable. The private self holds currents, depths, and sometimes turbulence. Both are essential. Both sustain each other. Awareness allows you to navigate these currents with grace, respecting both the surface and the depths without fear, shame, or suppression. Emotional duality becomes a skill, an intelligence, a reflection of your capacity to endure and connect deeply. Transformation is gradual, subtle, and continuous. Every reflection, every acknowledgement of a tear, every deliberate smile, every conscious engagement builds resilience, depth, and wisdom. Relationships evolve as you practice empathy without dissolving, presence without overexposure, and connection without losing yourself. Integration of inner and outer worlds creates harmony where once tension existed. Ultimately, your life, with hidden tears and deliberate smiles, becomes a testament to intelligence, courage, and depth. Survival and authenticity coexist. Resilience and vulnerability are companions, not opposites. Every silent tear, every conscious smile, every private reflection demonstrates mastery over a life lived fully and deeply. You have endured, you have evolved, and you continue to navigate life with subtle grace. You are alive, you are human, you are resilient. And in the quiet interplay between public smile and private sorrow, you find profound hope. A steady, enduring light that guides you through every storm and every moment of joy. The echoes of your childhood still resonate in the quiet chambers of your mind. You remember the subtle lessons you learned before you even knew their significance. The way a raised voice made your stomach tighten. How a disappointed glance could make your hands clammy. How silence often carried more weight than words. From those early experiences, you began to understand the delicate mechanics of survival. When to speak, when to hide, when to smile. These patterns became so ingrained that by the time you reached adolescence, they felt like instincts. Smiles were shields, laughter was armor, and your tears found a sanctuary in the shadows of your own private world. You were observing constantly, cataloging every reaction, every nuance of interaction. Your mind became a quiet laboratory, testing hypotheses about human behavior. If I smile here, approval follows. If I remain silent, conflict is avoided. If I cry, will anyone see? And what will happen then? The child within you was learning social navigation under duress, and the skills forged in those formative years became the foundation of the adult you would become. What appears effortless now, the ability to engage socially while carrying an inner storm, was honed through vigilance, observation, and subtle adaptation over many years. These early experiences taught you that emotions have consequences. Happiness could be rewarded, but sadness could bring discomfort, disapproval, or even neglect. Fear could provoke anger in others. Desire or longing might meet with judgment. And so, you learned to measure, temper, and sometimes disguise what you felt. It was not a betrayal of your feelings. It was a conscious negotiation with the world around you, an instinctive calculation born of necessity. The duality of outward compliance and inward truth became both survival and art. As you matured, this careful calibration extended beyond the home. In school, among friends, in public spaces, you became acutely attuned to social dynamics. You could sense shifts in group energy, interpret micro-expressions, and anticipate outcomes. Your smile, once a reflex to placate caregivers, now became a sophisticated tool to navigate peer relationships. You learned when to assert, when to conform, and when to retreat into the quiet sanctuary of your inner world. The private tears and reflective moments remained your anchor, grounding you amid social performance. Psychology calls this hypervigilance, a heightened awareness of cues that indicate safety or threat. It is exhausting, yet brilliant. Your nervous system, trained from childhood, detects subtle shifts in tone, posture, or gaze. You read the room before it is fully formed, anticipate reactions before they manifest, and adjust your behavior accordingly. This skill is invisible to most, but it is a superpower of subtlety, a survival mechanism refined over years of trial, observation, and adaptation. And yet, this same hyper-awareness carries cost: fatigue, anxiety, and sometimes a sense of disconnection from the ease of unmonitored life. Emotional compartmentalization further shapes your internal world. You store grief, fear, and longing in private compartments, accessible only when safety is assured. This allows you to engage fully in public spaces, to smile, converse, and function, even when the heart is heavy. These compartments are fragile, and sometimes they leak. A scent, a song, a memory can trigger a flood of suppressed emotion. But the containment allows you to survive, to protect yourself, and to maintain agency over when and how emotions are expressed. The psychology of people who smile to survive and cry in silence is tied to this dynamic, a constant negotiation between internal truth and external safety. You are simultaneously protecting yourself and engaging with the world, balancing survival with authenticity. Your private grief is a reservoir, your public performance a shield. The tension between these forces is not weakness. It is evidence of emotional intelligence, resilience, and adaptability. Your attachment history plays a role as well. Early inconsistency or emotional unavailability taught implicit rules. Vulnerability could be dangerous, honesty could be costly. Smiling to elicit approval became instinctive, while private tears became a secret refuge. These patterns extend into adulthood, guiding interactions with partners, friends, colleagues, and strangers alike. Even in safe environments, the instinct to protect your inner world persists, and the silent tears continue to serve as emotional regulation. This duality also nurtures empathy. Because you have learned to observe, interpret, and anticipate emotions, you can sense the hidden layers of others' experiences. You notice when someone smiles but carries sorrow, laughs but feels fear, engages but withdraws. Your own practice of hiding grief allows you to connect with others who do the same, often without speaking. This capacity for empathy is profound, but it carries the subtle weight of constant awareness. Living this way demands resilience. Every smile in public while your chest aches is practice. Every laugh while holding sorrow is a rehearsal in endurance. The mind becomes skilled at translating inner chaos into socially digestible cues. Yet, there is release in private moments, the tears, the reflection, the quiet recognition of what you carry. These are not indulgences. They are necessary for psychological balance. Without them, the duality falters, and the nervous system accumulates tension and exhaustion. Gradually, awareness offers empowerment. Recognizing the duality allows reflection. The performance, the private storm, the hypervigilance, the compartmentalization. They are all intelligences of survival. You can observe, honor, and integrate them without judgment. Awareness is the first step toward reconciliation of your inner and outer worlds, a bridge between the mask and the truth it conceals. Integration is subtle. It doesn't require abandoning the mask, nor does it require discarding privacy. Instead, it is a negotiation, choosing when to reveal, when to protect, when to honor vulnerability. Each reflective pause, each conscious acknowledgement of private grief, each intentional smile builds a landscape of emotional intelligence, resilience, and self-compassion. The duality, once merely survival, transforms into mastery. Relationships and social interactions shift as this awareness deepens. You can offer empathy without overextending, connection without dissolving, presence without compromising the inner sanctuary. Your internal storm and public performance begin to converse, creating a subtle harmony. Each conscious decision to act, reflect, or remain private strengthens this integration. The emotional architecture you've built over a lifetime becomes a source of power, subtle influence, and self-understanding. The private storm is a teacher. Every tear, every reflective moment, every solitude practice nurtures growth. Your public self becomes more intentional. Your smile becomes authentic, informed by self-awareness rather than obligation. Vulnerability evolves into conscious courage, not risk. The balance between exposure and preservation becomes a tool, a skill, a form of wisdom honed over years of experience. Ultimately, the duality of public smile and private grief is not a limitation. It is a testament to resilience, intelligence, and depth. The strategies that once merely ensured survival now guide authenticity, empathy, and connection. You navigate the world with subtlety, holding contradictions without judgment, and carrying both light and shadow in conscious coexistence. You are alive, resilient, and quietly powerful. Your private grief and public smiles do not conflict.